Hi, this is Trevor Conkergood. Welcome to this week's RNK Software Club's video for the week. And our topic for this week is about the pattern fill editor and the ability to create your own textures within the pattern fill. And so notice that I have a rectangle on the screen. And if I click on it, it will become selected. And in the properties box, you can see that it's a standard pattern fill. And there's a list. There's pattern 1 and pattern 2, all the way up to pattern 7 kind of thing, plus a couple that say cornrow, random, satin, smooth. And so these are all patterns that are considered kind of smooth textures. If I change it from pattern 1 to pattern 2 and click apply, you'll see that while it's still a smooth pattern, it has a slightly different texture to it. And so go ahead and try all of the pre-made ones. But what today is about learning to control and make your own choices. And so notice in the list here that at the very top, there's an option 01 and an option 02. And those are actually ones that were created using the program pattern editor. And so let's go ahead and the tool we're going to talk about today is actually in the tools drop down menu. And it's called the standard. It says standard pattern, but I think it's meant to say editor after that, the standard pattern fill editor. And when I click on it, a window opens up, and the window has all of the patterns, that I guess it comes with are available to load up. So pattern 1 is based on 4 offsets, and each offset is 25, 50, 75, and then back to 0 again. And it creates kind of like a little bit of a pattern that looks sort of like a diagonal stripe in relationship to the stitch direction. And this little window here, in conjunction with the number of offsets, so notice that I could add a 5th offset, and notice my 5th offset became in line here. So the dark lines kind of represent where they are, and I can move the points along these lines to be kind of wherever you want them to be, and create the offset pattern. And it will simply repeat it after you get to 5. And so the first one could be 69%, then 24, 53, 0, 41, and then it would go back to the 69 again. So that's the idea is let's try and make like a little bit of a, so now you're creating kind of like a bit of a mark like this: 69, 59, 53, 45, and 41, and you can play with these. If you make something you think is unique, you can click save, and it lets you give it a name. So I already had 1 and 2, so I'll call this one 003 and say okay. And it kind of shows you a little bit down here of what it's going to look like, when it's stitched out. But if you want to, now that you've created it and saved one, you can click close. And then in your properties box over on the right-hand side, just click on the selector, and notice that now 003 is an option, and I can click apply. So this is the latest, standard pattern that we kind of created with the tool that's under our tools drop-down menu where it says standard pattern. Now, if you decide you don't like the one we made, I can select it and then come to this button right here and say delete. And that will allow me to get rid of it. And so it's no longer going to be, one of the options. And so now I only have 1 and 2 available in my list. So yeah, you can create your own patterns. Essentially, come into here one more time, standard pattern editor. And, you can control the number of offsets. And so by clicking on the ones that are already made, we can kind of see how they get made. So pattern 2 is 6 offsets. Looks like it creates kind of a bit of a, almost like a chevron repeated pattern to it. Pattern 3 looks more like this, and it has 8 offsets. And, pattern 4, now we've got 10 offsets. And so, what does the smooth one look like? And so you can kind of learn from the ones that were already there. And here's your, really kind of a zigzag effect to it. Um, and then you can make edits to them if you want to, play this uh, a little bit here and there, and make it something unique and something different. Then go ahead and do that, and then click save, and it'll ask you to give it a new name. So you can kind of make a variation of zigzag, or start out with any one of the options, and it'll tell you that when you change it, that it's gonna any changes you made will be lost if you don't save it, and that's fine. And so I won't bother to save it, but now I get a new pattern, and I can start editing from there. So you can take control and have any number of offsets and control where the marks are on each offset. You can also just come in here and type it. So for example, if I wanted to make one that had 3 offsets, and then I could type in here that I wanted the first one to be at 33, and then this next one at 66. And that would kind of show me what that looked like. And then the next one at 0, maybe I want to put it at 99, that kind of thing. And so it lets you kind of visualize what would that look like in an offset. So I hope you enjoyed this week's RNK Software Club's video for the week. Until next week, thanks for watching, and bye for now.